While Sudan's Army Chief General Burhan could be seeking military and diplomatic support on his regional trips, that is, instead of pursuing a platform to push for negotiations with the rival paramilitary RSF. These are the thoughts of David Otto-Endeley, the director for the Geneva Centre for Africa Security and Strategic Studies. We spoke to him earlier on via Zoom.
General Burhan is seeking for some kind of military and diplomatic support. We know that this war, since it broke out between the RSF and the Sudanese armed forces, it's the first time that General Burhan has set out from Sudan, 6 months into the fighting, with both sides actually claiming the upper hand. Well, I don't think there's going to be any significance when both sides are already fighting for the US to levy sanctions on one side. Of course, you've got to be able to understand that levying sanctions is one thing, but actually being able to realize those sanctions is another thing. Perhaps most of the people that may have been selected do not have any links to the US or any other country. So effectively, that may not work. But I don't think, this is a situation where you can just levy sanction on one side, on the RSF forces. It actually demonstrates at some point that, the US is taking sides, by supporting the Sudanese armed forces under General Burhan. We have to be clear that both sides do not have legitimacy, and both sides have also failed in terms of keeping up to the so many ceasefires that we've seen. So I think dividing one side against the other will not be an effective strategy in the current situation. Well, I think this is a decision that General Burhan took unilaterally. Both men, had fought together side by side. When they took away, the former dictator from power, Omar al-Bashir. His decision to dissolve the RSF and call them a rebel group, it's something that is more or less, a propaganda. I don't think the RSF takes that any seriously. But General Burhan has said so many times that there is no room for negotiation with rebels. But both men do not have legitimacy. I think, they are all beneficiaries of a military coup. I think what is more important is to see how both men can be brought together on the table for some kind of negotiation. I think from day one, we've made it very clear that the main reason why both men have been fighting is because, there is a disagreement in terms of how the RSF would be integrated into the Sudanese armed force, but also the issue of leadership and the issue of control of major institutions. So I think this is where the solution lies. The focus must be to get both men to reconcile, go back to what I describe as the last known good. We had both men working together to overthrow al-Bashir. But the problem has been now in terms of sharing what I describe as the spoils of Sudan. So the best way forward in terms of getting back Sudan to its position of stability in preparation for a democratic process is to allow both men to agree on a power sharing mechanism, one that will integrate both the RSF and the Sudanese armed forces. And both men should be given a part to play so that we can move on to a process whereby we can have the democratic process set up and Sudanese can move forward with their lives.